I was in the third grade at South Boulevard Elementary School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and there was a TV reporter, Maxine Crump, from the CBS station who came to our classroom, and she talked about her job. I said, that's what I want to do. And so I wrote a letter to the news director of my hometown TV station, 8 years old, with the help of my parents. He invited me down. I would go every day after school until I went away to college. But I knew that's what I wanted to do. Well, I was out shooting a story. I don't even remember the details of the story. It was so long. In fact, it is 20 years old, that video right now, because it happened in 1996 in Little Rock, Arkansas. So we were out covering the story. A bad day for me. Allergies kicking in, hot Arkansas weather, and a grasshopper jumps in my mouth. And the rest is history.
Augusta High School that led to Chris Wood's death.
The f is that? I'm dying in this country ass up town.
You know, I laughed at it that time when we saw it back at the station, and I thought it was dead. I'm like, okay.
Out this country, motherfucker. I can't even see me.
And maybe 10, 15 years later, it resurfaces on YouTube. We didn't have YouTube back then. And I was like, how the hell did that video get out? But it ended up being a blessing, too.
He doesn't take BS from anybody. And he's always looking out for you. He's Isiah. And this is The Factor, Uncensored.
Well, the Isiah Factor started initially as a website, a blog called The Insight. And it was the first blog by any reporter in Houston, probably in Texas or around the country, where I had the opportunity to explore other issues that other reporters did not have. And that started back in 2005. And it became hugely popular here in Houston, in Texas, and in Louisiana. And so my general manager said, let's extend that to television. So we started a daily segment called the Isiah Factor, the odd stories, the different stories that you don't typically see in the TV newscast. On the average, anywhere from 2 to 2.5 minutes each day. And then that evolved, and they started doing it on Friday nights for half an hour. Now it's evolved to an hour-long show. I would describe Isiah Factor Uncensored as an info party because we give you the information, the news, the weather, the sports, all that you need, but it's fun. It's also one big party. You'll see celebrities on there. You'll see entertainment. You'll see fashion. You'll see people singing, us dancing at the end of the show. It's just one big party, but it's also hidden news and information for people who are not really into news, maybe those millennials out there who want news in a different form. But we're still slipping in that news, but it's one big party. They feel like they're at an event on a Friday night, just not stuck at home. So we have some great interviews on the show. I would even describe some of them as explosive. One with a pastor who was arrested for trying to hire a prostitute. He thought it'd be a cakewalk on The Factor. When the Houston Police Department says that you went out soliciting prostitution for sex, is that true? Obviously, you're a pastor, you're a minister of music here in the community. This could be very damaging to you.
Absolutely. It is not correct at all. The day that this happened, I pulled to the scene, and when I got there, the lady, I couldn't even say a word. She asked me for sex. I didn't give her a response. I didn't get her a call. I did not in no way agree to anything.
Yes. You signed a piece of paper with the Harris County District Attorney's Office saying you're guilty. Only a few days afterwards, you entered a guilty plea in order to avoid trial. Why did you do that?
Well, I did not know what a guilty plea was. When they told me
Wait, back up though, real quick.
Okay.
For an intelligent individual like yourself,
absolutely,
obviously, you know what innocent means and you know what guilty means.
Absolutely.
There was another exciting interview on The Factor. This involved Bruce Jenner transitioning into Caitlyn Jenner. And we invited Nikki Aragus, who is a transgender woman, onto the show along with David Welch, who is with the Houston Pastoral Council. And when you put those two together, explosion.
You know, Bruce Jenner is another example of a really tragic story of somebody who has clearly gone through enough trauma in his life to where he's denying who he really always was. This isn't about equality, it's about reality and about whether we are created by God in his image and created male and female, or whether we're evolving animals. And we think Bruce is an American tragedy, not an American hero.
I think the real tragedy is that you call yourself a Christian. I think that's the real tragedy here. I think that in America today, I think the majority of people are on the right side of history, unlike Mr. Welch. I think that Mr. Welch represents the portion of the population prior to the early 60s that thought it was popular to discriminate against African Americans. It would have been your line of thinking that would have led to the belief that even Isiah.
Well, Isiah, are we going to have a filibuster? Or are we going to have a conversation? Okay.
There was an interview on the Isiah Factor Uncensored that caught us off guard. We invited State Representative Ron Reynolds, who had already been convicted of barratry, which is essentially ambulance chasing, to come on the show to talk about a lawsuit where he was accused of not paying a settlement to one of his clients. He's also a private attorney as well as a state representative. And during his legal practice, a family accused him of not paying them a $500,000 settlement. We didn't expect he would show up. He came anyway. And this is how it went.
Now, you have had your barratry case in Montgomery County where you were convicted there.
Yes.
You're facing a year in jail there. You're appealing that, right?
Yes. It has a history of racism in Montgomery County. I'm an African-American Democrat who happens to be the House Democratic whip. It's an overwhelmingly Republican county. They didn't look at the evidence. They simply were judging me based upon, I believe, my race and my
Montgomery
gender.
County for years, and they've sent white people to jail. I don't think it was based on your skin color. I think it was based on the evidence that the prosecutors had in this particular case.
No, absolutely not. In fact,
I
would like to sit down with you and show you the transcript. I have a transcript.
covered Montgomery County, and I've seen a white man go to jail for 60 years
I'm talking about
for
my
breaking into
particular
his
case.
girlfriend's house.
That maybe they had evidence of it, but anybody who followed the trial, who was there and heard the witnesses, I have the transcripts. I'd like to show you the transcript.
Was it a mistake that you defended yourself?
Maybe hindsight is 20/20. I would not have represented myself again.
Also on the Isiah Factor Uncensored, it's not just about hard news and information. We also like to have a good time. We want people to feel like they are tuning in to a party on a Friday night.
Don't believe me, just watch.
You never kind of know what direction Isiah is going to go when he asks you a question.
Want me to talk more?
I want some more from you.
Tell me one mean thing he's done.
This dude is human waste.
Tell me one good thing he's done.
Isiah is so great about being so local in the community. I mean, he's a Houston guy. And
well, nobody can party better than Houstonians. When it comes to Houston, we will be off the chain.
They have lost their mind.
I do believe he's a human who wants to waste the Democrats, specifically in this case, Hillary Clinton.
What is this true distinction between both candidates?
get over it. And every week there's going to be some sort of new fun surprise, and that's what I always look forward to.
Is that a game sign?
Wait a minute.
What do I see in the future of Isiah Factor Uncensored? Probably some expansion to 5 nights a week where we can entertain and inform the people constantly. I'd like to see the show travel around the community. Maybe 1 week in the Woodlands or 1 week in Sugar Land or in Waller County. You know, touching lives as well. Part of the Factor Uncensored is Factor Gives, where we're helping different people in the community. In one case, we helped an elderly woman who lost her home. And now people are giving to the 77-year-old senior citizen who finds herself homeless in the twilight of her life. So I'd like to see the Isiah Factor Uncensored get involved, helping people in the community, but also entertaining them as well.
Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio.